We've heard today that Jeff Jarrett is going into the WWE Hall of Fame. He joins Ivory, Goldberg and the Dudley Boys in the class of 2018. I will say this, I am genuinely surprised of this latest induction, this latest inclusion. We've heard the rumours now for a couple of weeks, really. Rumours going about that Jarrett might be being considered for the WWE Hall of Fame, and obviously this news confirms it. As a lifelong wrestling fan, obviously going back to the 1980s, I've obviously followed Jarrett's career for many years. Not a huge Jarrett fan, I will admit that. I don't think he is the main event material that he's been for a couple of companies. But Jarrett has certainly had a quite successful career. I don't really need to give a history lesson on Jarrett, but of course he switched between WCW and WWE several times during the Monday Night Wars, the Attitude Era, including of course the last time that he left WWE was mid to late '99 after the death of Owen Hart, his partner and friend. And certainly it seems that the relationship between himself and WWE has been not very positive and very minimal over the years since. Of course, there's a very famous promo on the start of the Monday Night Raw on the same night as the last Monday Night Raw by Vince McMahon publicly firing Jeff Jarrett. It's on the network. You can see it. It's very real. Jarrett was genuinely, legitimately fired. That wasn't just a Vince McMahon promo. That wasn't just something for TV or WWE firing the kind of final shot on of the Monday Night Wars across the bow or into the bow. It really would have been to sink WCW or into the hull or into wherever it would be necessarily to sink the ship of WCW. That was a legitimate firing, and since then the relationship between Jarrett and WWE had been minimal at best. Jarrett certainly was on the very outs with WWE. Didn't like the company. I don't think many in WWE really liked Jeff Jarrett, or at least publicly it seemed that way. Lots of different rumors, lots of speculation over the years about different things, but certainly recently Jeff Jarrett entered rehab for his personal demons, his personal problems, and it was rumored at that point that it was WWE sponsored. Now, one thing I will say about WWE, in some occasions, I know some occasions because I've had a friend, what used to work in WWE, Facebook friend, and he contacted WWE recently about something, and they told him that they were unable to help him about it. It was about a minor legal kind of immigration thing. But they have been helping people when it comes to things like rehab. We've seen Road Dogg receive X-Pac, Just Incredible, and others receive help from WWE, and WWE pay for the rehab, and they've done it for years. It's not a new thing, really. It's not a recent thing, because they've done it for many years, even before this whole wellness policy thing. And in my opinion, it seems that sometimes, on a few occasions at least, it seems that, and I don't know who makes the decision, whether it be Triple H, Vince McMahon, Stephanie, whoever it makes the decision about whether they'll pay or not pay for a particular person's rehabilitation. It certainly, or rehab centre spells, or whatever it is. It certainly seems that sometimes it's almost as if the history between WWE and that person is kind of put to one side. It seems sometimes that even if there's been a really bad relationship between WWE and that person in the past, a lot of arguments for whatever reason, it seems on some occasions that is put to the side and WWE go ahead and pay for the rehab, which is great, obviously. And if they can genuinely help a former talent, and the talent can get the help that they genuinely need, that's fantastic. So it was rumored a few weeks ago now that it was WWE sponsored rehab, And I'll admit, it seemed that Jarrett wouldn't go back to WWE. Obviously, he, along with his father Jerry and a couple other investors, founded TNA, Total Nonstop Impact Wrestling, which is now known simply as Impact Wrestling, and now owned by Anthem Sports. And I'll get back to that in a moment. But Jarrett certainly seemed to be, and there's some occasions where it just happens. CM Punk, for example, where people go work for WWE or have a relationship with WWE, and for whatever reason doesn't work, and the two end up on completely opposite sides. And that's what it seemed to me personally when it comes to Jeff Jarrett. That's the way it works. Not everybody's going to fit into WWE, fit into the WWE system, or be lifelong pals with WWE. Not doesn't necessarily have to. It doesn't always work that way. But certainly it seems that Jarrett would be on the outs with WWE for the rest of his life. It seemed that's going to be the permanent situation. But obviously, this announcement, and I thought to see, I'm probably willing to bet it's probably been Triple H who's reached out and possibly rebuilt this bridge. Obviously, he knew Jarrett from working with him in the Attitude Era. I have no idea what the personal relationship in those days were like with him. When they were in locker rooms together. But certainly, Triple H has been the one to reach out to guys like, say, Bruno Sammartino, for example, and bring them back aboard and rebuild that relationship with them. And so I think it's great that Jarrett is going back into the WWE and going into the WWE Hall of Fame. Like I said, I've never really been a big fan of Jeff Jarrett. I personally, and I hate it, and I give him all credit if he's really taking care of his personal problems and his demons. I've never been in that position, and I think that's really great that he is in a lot better position nowadays, and hopefully he continues to receive any help that he does, because he's just out of rehab, just really a few weeks. And like I said, I've never been in that position, but what I've learned um, through the years, it's obviously an ongoing thing. It's an always ongoing thing. We've heard it from many people. Eddie Guerrero, for example, it's an continually ongoing thing. And so, if Jarrett is really beating these demons, and this is going to help him get put back into a better position, then that's fantastic. Like I said, I'm never really a huge Jarrett fan. I didn't think WCW was struggling, and I didn't really think he was main event world championship material. Obviously, he was a world champion in WCW. Ruled the roost kind of in his own promotion, which is why he was multiple time world champion in TNA. I'm never a huge fan of Jarrett, I will admit, but like I said, if this gets him set on the best path, that's fine. Uh, Very quickly, I will say some people will obviously suggest that perhaps this is a way of getting WWE to try and kind of worm their way to Impact Wrestling, and then maybe buy the company or buy the video library. Jarrett doesn't own the company anymore. I don't think he's got anything to do with the ownership of the company. I think he's completely gone from the company. I think looking at the Wikipedia, it's Aerolit's marketing is about 10%. I think Dixie Carter 5%, and then he gets Anthem Sports. That's like something like 85% ownership. So I don't think Jarrett owns any of that at all. So there's no way to get. There's no way of WWE trying to worm their way, I don't think, into buying or having anything to do with Impact Wrestling. I think that's just it's going to be suggested by some people, and I wanted to talk about it, but I don't genuinely don't think that's the case whatsoever. Um, I will say that Jarrett going into the Hall of Fame, I think it's a good thing. I look forward to hearing his speech, and I do wonder, of course, what role will he have with WWE going forward? Will he have an on-air role, a behind-the-scenes role, or will he be simply an ambassador for WWE? It'll be good to see that. But anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing how this relationship between Jeff Jarrett and WWE develops.